All right. Actually, we should probably just do some training. Basic flight. Welcome to the Kerbal Space Center launch facility. Hello, babe. Welcome to the stream. I'm Gene Kerman, and I will teach you the basics of piloting a spacecraft. I trust you already took the basic construction tutorial. If not, I recommend you do so before going through this one. Today we will do a run-through of all the important basic controls for your spacecraft. Our little hopper from your basic construction lesson with a Warner may not have all of them, but we'll do a full run through once and see how it flies. Flying a spacecraft is all about being in control of a genuinely very chaotic situation. I saw some of the tutorial already. Yeah, that was the construction portion. Let's look at those first. All the other controls will be locked until they're needed or this tutorial is closed. Pitch, yaw, and roll are the three directions you will rotate your craft. Talk with me. Easy enough. Throttle plus pitch, yaw, and roll are the main controls you'll need to master for a successful crash-free flight. We'll skip over the throttle control for now, as this vessel has no need for it. Don't worry, I'll explain it another time when it's of use. Okay. From the launch to final deployment, the descent parachute, you can control the activation of several of the ship's parts by activating stages. Press X to launch or activate next stage. Notice the stage indicator in the lower left corner. It shows the currently active stage. Excuse me. Since we haven't launched yet, it's showing the first stage is active. I have your staging controls locked for now, so the stage indicator is glowing purple. One more thing on staging. If the staging setup is causing strife, or you change your mind about something, you can edit the stage sequence on the fly. Pun intended. No need to go back to the assembly facility. It's important to know how your ship is oriented and where that it's going. That's why a good pilot is always aware of the ship's altitude, where it is pointing, and its velocity vector, where it's going. These aren't always the same direction, and as your skills improve, you should pick up on these. The big round instrument on the lower center of the screen is called the nav ball. This device sums up the most critical information needed for proper death-free flight. Here you see the ship's nose in relation to the horizon. Whether you're not pointing straight up, it's easily visible as a line between blue sky and the brown ground, as well as its heading, compass bearing, and speed. You can also get several icons that indicate things like your current velocity vector, but we'll have a look at those later. In the top center part of your screen, you have your altimeter, vertical speed indicator, and atmosphere gauges. The altimeter will show you the distance to the planet's surface at sea level. This means the actual surface may be much closer, so watch out for the ground when landing. At sea level, okay. Your vertical speed indicator shows how quickly your altitude is changing. When launching, it's considered best to keep this gauge pointing up. The atmosphere gauge indicates how deep the ship is in the planet's atmosphere. This helps you know if the ship is high enough for orbiting without losing speed to air resistance, or judge how effective wings and control surfaces will be. One last thing before we give this rocket the green light. You can see the staging parachute. The left three show safe, risky, and unsafe to deploy. The chute is unstaged, white, and the left three. The right three shows you after staging, armed, deployed, and cut/shredded. When you are familiar with chute icon colors, we can move on. Okay, enough talk. I'll unlock the flight controls and you'll be clear for launch. For now, get yourself prepared and press X to launch. Up you go. You're passing a Poapsis, the highest point on your flight, and your speed is low enough that it's safe to stage again to deploy the parachute. Do so now. You've armed the parachute. Now it's time to wait to get low enough and slow down enough for it to deploy safely. Don't worry, it will do so automatically now. Well, maybe worry slightly. If you didn't fly high enough, you may not have enough air under you to slow down before you crash. And now we sit back and enjoy the descent. There we go. And I will speed up. Okay, never mind. We'll just enjoy the descent. Look, there's the moon right there. We can go there. We can fly to the moon. We can fly to the sun. Kind of looks like the Death Star, doesn't it? That would be pretty cool. Almost there. 80 meters to go. Maybe a bit, yeah. Well done, you survived your first quick flight. When you're landed or splashed on Kerbal and not in training, you can move the cursor just above the altimeter and press X on the recovery button. I've also unlocked the crew hatch, so if you feel like going out for a walk or swim, you can change the cursor mode. Okay, this concludes today's lesson. Press the access to choose end scenario and return to the main menu. Okay. End scenario. Yep. Alright, next up. Intermediate construction. Hello again, I'm glad you could come back. Enter the vehicle assembly building and we'll get started. Here we are again, now to business. If you remember, in our last construction tutorial, we covered how to build a simple hopper and some of the basics of the construction area. In this tutorial, we'll expand your knowledge of some of the more useful features in the VAB, and we'll build a more complex craft that will be able to get us out of the atmosphere. To build our new design, let's start with the craft we built in the basic construction tutorial, though this one is just called Hopper. This will save us a little bit of time, and the accounting department is always happy when we save on time. Open craft. Select Hopper, then remove its RT5 flea motor. If you mess up, you can recreate the craft from the part list by placing a pod first, then a parachute on top of it. Okay. Next, unlike last time, we won't be bringing the whole vessel back, so we can change our parachute stats from what we used before. In cursor mode, press square on the parachute and verify that its deployment altitude is set to 1000 as last time, but also set the minimum pressure slider all the way to the right, 0.75 atmosphere. That corresponds to an altitude on Kerbal of about 2 kilometers and means a much shorter time hanging around during descent. Okay. First off, let's change the name of our craft in the description if you want, so that we still have our trash can special for later on. Simply change the name to something other than Hopper and we can proceed. What should we name it? Have any good ideas? No? Well, let me think. Alright, anyways. Great, for this craft, we are going to give the ship some additional purpose by attaching a science experiment. We can run these kinds of experiments during our travels and get valuable science data for Kerbal kind. There are a number of science experiments to be performed, but at the moment we only have the mystery goo containment unit available. Switch to the science tab to look at it. This is one of the most basic scientific experiments Kerbal scientists have devised, and one of the first things they want to try and understand better. I mean, they don't even know what color the goo is. Okay. When you pick up the part, you'll see that it's designed to attach to the sides of other parts, i.e. radially. If we attach only one of these, then during flight, our craft will be unbalanced. One way to solve this is to add an extra goo container on the opposite side of the rocket so they balance. Luckily, we have a symmetry tool to help here. These buttons control symmetry and angle snap and can be are found in the lower left of the screen. Open the radial by pressing triangle and change symmetry radial. Set this count to 2, then pick up and place a mystery goo containment unit. 2. Pick up containment unit. And place a unit on the side of the pod near the top. You'll notice that a second one has been placed opposite the first by the symmetry tool. Make sure symmetry is set correctly. Remember the canisters are near the nose. Place the canisters near the nose of the pod. Okay. If we add too many more parts here, the craft we are making will be too heavy to survive re-entry safely, and too heavy to be slowed down by our parachute, leading to sudden impact syndrome. So we will need to add a decoupler below the pod. Decouplers can be found in the coupling tab and will let us split the craft when we no longer need the lower parts. We won't be able to recover the discarded parts, but at least our craft and our Kerbal will survive re-entry and landing. Decouplers can be used in many ways, but for now let's just add one of these to the bottom of the pod. Go to the coupling and grab a TR-18A. Wow. Note the stack decouplers have arrows. The arrows show which side is the side that decouples. Make sure your decoupling arrow is pointing up towards the pod. It will be by default. Well done. You recall, I hope, that in the previous tutorial we had to adjust the staging stack when we added the engines to our earlier rocket. When you add a decoupler, the extra stage is automatically added to the stack so that any new parts below the decoupler won't be staged at the same time as those above it. You can, of course, still move these around, but hopefully this will save you some time as you go. If you ever want to return to this default staging group, press the reset button at the bottom of the staging stack. This time we're going to use a liquid propellant rocket engine. Unlike solid rocket motors, these engines don't carry their own propellants with them, so we need to add some fuel tanks. Go to the fuel tanks tab. We are still using these early parts, so there are only FL-T100s available. This is another area like engines where advancement brings bigger and better parts. Okay, once you place the first tank on the rocket, you can duplicate that by holding the square button and pressing on the tank with X. Huh? Oh. My voice carries. You're going to need 5 of these tanks to get us to space. Before you grab 5 tanks from the part toolbox though, let me give you another tip, because efficiency is my middle name. It goes right after Vaughn. Once you place the first tank on the top, you can duplicate it by holding square, pressing on the tank with X. You can do this on the bottom tank a few times and quickly get 5 of these attached without having to go back to the window. One, two, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Good. Switch over to the engines tab. The swivel engine you see here is obviously different from the flea we used before. This is a liquid engine, and it needs and burns both liquid fuel and oxidizer. Funnily enough, that's what we just added to the rocket. Attach the swivel at the bottom of the rocket stack and keep an eye on the staging stack to see how it changes. Okay. We're almost there and you're doing fine. Maybe not as speedily as someone of my caliber, though. Last thing we're going to need to do is give this rocket a little better stability so it keeps going the way we want it to go. We will achieve this by adding some fins near the bottom of the rocket. Fins can be found in the Aerodynamics tab. Set it to 4. Set the symmetry angle to 4 times and we will place them on both axes. Also, turn on angle snap. Drop a basic fin on the last rocket tank. You'll see other 3 symmetry counterparts will be placed as well. So like here. Okay. Excellent. Now we've got a rocket that will let us reach for the stars. Admittedly, I did say reach for, as this is a basic rocket which can't achieve orbit. But on the bright side, that means re-entry will also be basic. You've done a great job in building a basic hopper and a sub-orbit capable rocket. Hopefully you've learned a few things about how to build a craft and how to use some of the shortcuts that are in here. Feel free to hang around a bit and try your hand at other things too, or perhaps you could just look for the next lesson on suborbital flight, where we will see just how well this rocket performs, or head over to the science tutorial to learn how to advance your career and unlock more parts. You can show yourself out of the construction facility, blah blah blah. Okay. End scenario. Don't save. Suborbital flight. Hello again, glad you can make it back. Your mission today is to make a short suborbital, less than orbital, flight out over the water to the east. It's a nice arching path that ensures a gentle, survivable re-entry. Straight up, then straight down is not so good for survival. I've set up the pink target indicator on the nav ball as aim point, but do note that this is not the case for normal missions. The target marker is normally used for other things and does not help with ascent. Starting with the nose pointing straight up on the launch pad or 90 degrees elevation from the eastern horizon. Tilt east to 80 degrees, start at 50 ms. Tilt east 70 degrees on the nav bowl by 400 meters a second, start at 250 meters a second. After burnout, coast up to space and have a look around, prepare for re-entry. Lastly, re-enter and land safely. Once we reach burnout, run out of propellant, we'll have a bit more time to discuss some other things. Unlike the hopper in our first lesson, this new craft has liquid fuel engines. That means we can use the throttle to set the output power of the ship's engines. Throttle is controlled by the following buttons. Try out these now. You see the indicator needle slide up and down along the graph on the lower side of the nav ball. Okay. SAS stands for Stability Augmentation System, although Kerbal astronauts usually refer to it as a sickness avoidance scheme. Whatever it stands for, what it does try to do is stop the ship from spinning around, using the computer-controlled auto-torque drive compensator technology to counteract the rotation of the ship. In its simplest mode, it will keep the ship aligned with the orientation it has when you turn SAS on, or if you pitch yaw/roll while SAS is on, the orientation when you release the controls. SAS can be toggled by pressing circle. Another way to toggle it would be by pressing left to open the Action Group's radial menu and selecting SAS. If you have problems following the maneuvers, once you enable SAS and lift off, you can press L1 and triangles open the SAS mode radial menu. There you can select the target mode at your 9. Alternatively, you can use the cursor and press X on the small red button to the left of the nav ball. That is a miniature target indicator. That will cause the SAS to follow the target indicator and fly for you. Note, this autopiloting function will not be available until you are flying. This craft has a bit too much engine, so we're going to throttle down for launch. Set your throttles to 2/3. The upper of the two middle notches on the slider. Here. Here. 2/3. Also turn on SAS to help control things. It will keep you pointed where you want to be pointed. Okay, so we'll want to do the target. Okay, talk to me. Is this not correct? Here. This is 2/3. Right there. Right there. Okay. During this lesson, some of the information is quite detailed and could take a while to read, as this is a short suborbital hop, and I don't want you to miss anything important. I will place a warning at the top of the pages where you might want to pause the game to read. The warning will look like this. Warning, detailed info. Press OK. Okay, enough talk. I'll unlock the rest of the flight controls. Anytime you press options to pause the game. In the pause menu, you can restart the flight and this tutorial. Double check your throttle is set to 2/3 on the slider, and SAS is enabled, and hit X when you're ready to launch. Remember to start turning at 50 ms. Now it's time for the turn. Follow the target marker to 80 degrees by the time you reach 150. Good work. Get ready to turn further once you reach 250. Looking good. Now let's turn a little more. We are aiming to get to the 70 degree pitch line. You can now follow the marker as it moves there. Excellent work. We've got the rocket just where it needs to be in order to reach space. We should be able to let SAS keep the craft steady for a while as we accelerate further. Now go ahead and throttle up to full power. We're really cooking now. As we get up to these higher speeds, you might start to see some heat effects, but we will clear the atmosphere before it gets too hot. Hold the course and we'll reach stage burnout successfully. Great work. You succeeded in getting your ship on a trajectory bound for space. I've now set your target indicator to align with your velocity meter. That will minimize drag by turning the smallest side of the vehicle into the airflow. Somewhere around here, you will see the nav ball speed indicator auto switch from surface to orbit, accompanied by the speed number jumping. Go ahead and switch it back to surface mode by pressing L3 to toggle the cursor and press X until it says cursor again, or surface again. You might have noticed some flickering flames near the end of our burn there, which is due to the high speed of your craft in the atmosphere. Normally our ascent would be a little slower, but I'm sure my friend Warner has helped you build a ship that can withstand this heat. And besides this heat and this slow, you'll be fine. If you want to have a look at your trajectory, you can switch to the map, or you can just access it through the radio menu. Okay. So I go here, surface. Okay. Now we're coasting our way to apoapsis. That's the highest point on our current projected path. We've got a little more time to chat. Once you clear the atmosphere, we'll go over what you can do in space. While we float up here beyond the atmosphere, I'll quickly tell you about a couple things you can do. With an advanced enough astronaut complex, we can train our Kerbals to be able to do a spacewalk, although we won't be doing that on this flight. Also, when we are carrying science devices like our goo containers, we can perform experiments. Feel free to play with the goo canisters now by opening their action menu, pressing square over the piece. I'll let you know when it's time for the next phase of suborbital flight. The goo seems to have clumped into a sphere. It also appears to have become brittle. As we near the edge of the atmosphere again, it's time to reorient the pod to get ready for re-entry. We're only going to re-enter with the pod and chute and goo canisters, but we're not going to decouple yet. In real missions, it's best to keep your upper stage around until the last moment. You never know when you might need it. Anyways, it's best to re-enter bottom first, and since we ascended at about 70 degrees pitch, we'll naturally re-enter at around negative 70 degrees pitch. That means you want to aim the top of the capsule at 70 degrees pitch line, but the opposite heading. That is a heading of 270 and the nav ball and 70 degrees pitch. And I placed the target marker there to help you see where that lies. Turn SAS off, change your altitude, then turn it back on again. Nice. Now hold steady in your new altitude. On your new altitude, let SAS do its job, and get ready to decouple the stage and start re-entry. Excuse me. Now it's time to get rid of that booster since it's weighing us down. A stage to discard the unneeded parts en masse. During re-entry with your pod oriented, you are now re-entering Kerbin's atmosphere. Make sure to keep all hands and feet inside the pod at all times. We don't want you getting burnt up or anything. Last time we watched the parachute icon to wait for the right time to open the chute. This time we're going to do something a little different. Remember in the construction tutorial where you designed this vessel? You set the chute to not semi-deploy until 0.75 atmospheres of pressure. That means the suit won't perform the first of its 2 deployment steps until then, even if you activate it by staging now. On Kerbin, 75 atmosphere means about 2,000 meters altitude above sea level, and the craft should be traveling slowly enough by then that the chute will survive deployment. So let's take the bold step of arming the chute now and let the smarts in there pop it at the right altitude. You know you can trust me. Stage the chute now by pressing X. Awesome. So while we wait for your chute to not actually semi-deploy until around 2 kilometers, we do look out for you at mission control. We do need to ensure that the opening height, its second deployment step, is correct. You can even adjust these parameters during flight, so check the cursor Don't touch the pressure slider or bad things will happen. And make sure the full deploy altitude is no less than 1,000 meters or you will not have enough time to slow down. Once you're satisfied, just hang on until about 2 kilometers and watch the parachute trigger itself according to the settings we've chosen. While we're waiting, I want you to look at the bottom of the capsule. Note that you do not have a heat shield. You don't need one because this is such a gentle flight. Actually, a heat shield would make things more dangerous on this craft because the additional mass would be pushing the limits on this model of parachute. Okay, so we need to check the parachute settings. It is correct. SAS should be on. Should be hitting the atmosphere soon. There it is. Okay, 2000 it should deploy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, deploy. There it is. She's away now. Enjoy the leisurely float down to the surface. Alright, seems good for here. We know how to do suborbital. Now we have one more training to do, and that will be orbiting. Go for orbit. Today we will tackle an absolutely essential skill for any space program, getting to orbit. Without this skill, we might as well be teaching you Kerbal Flight Simulator. I trust you've already checked the other flight tutorials as well as the advanced construction ones of the familiar with the Kerbal 1 vessel we will be launching today. If not, I highly recommend you do so before going through this one. If you want to go back and try the others, blah blah blah. Alrighty then, let's do it. As I said before, the plan here is to get our vessel and pilot safely into orbit. As with suborbital flight we did previously, we will follow a curved path to get to the point where we can circularize our orbit. Today's gravity turn, however, will be much shallower than the path we followed previously, so that we will build speed towards orbit. This is different from how the Kerbal pilots of old did it. They would head up straight up and then hang a right as if the air was super something. We'll be turning early and smoothly, but don't turn too far or you might be mistaken for one of those lifelong turkeys, whatever that means. As with the previous flight, I will place a target marker on the nav ball to show you the optimal velocity vector. I'll also display some technical information about your path as you go to help you learn the right way to get there. For now, set the throttle to max and prepare to launch. You should now see the marker on the nav ball. Turn on SES, turn on target, hit X when you're ready for go for orbit. If you want Valentina, the Kerbal pilot, to fly the curve for you, then you can enable SAS and set the mode target after liftoff. Don't worry about your throttle, you just need to pay attention to the target marker and the proper times to stage. I'll prompt you along the way. Get ready to start pitching. Time to start pitching now. Pitching down, follow the target marker. We are almost of our fuel in the SRBs, so get ready to eject them by staging. You need to press X when it's time. Stage now. Doing great. Keep following the target indicator and get ready to stage again to discard the lower stage. And stage. Stage again. Excellent. You survived through the first phase of the launch, and now we have a longer, more gentle burn to accelerate towards the apoapsis. Just map mode, you can look at the trajectory and watch the apoapsis. Great, now you can keep an eye on the trajectory while I track our future path. If you hover over the apoapsis node on the map, you'll be able to see the estimated highest altitude of our future path. You can pin a marker so that it remains visible. To do that, toggle the cursor mode, press square over the marker. We will need to keep burning along that path until we clear the atmosphere by handy margin. We'll aim for 80 kilometers. Cut the engine. Press down once the apoapsis hits 80 kilometers. I'll cut it for you once it passes 81 kilometers. Meanwhile, I'll keep an altitude display open so you can track your progress ascending and an apoapsis display to track your progress. Okay. And that's going to get us there. I've made sure the engine's shut off now, and we'll coast till we clear the atmosphere at 70 kilometers altitude. You may notice your speed is dropping a little as we coast. There's nothing to be concerned about. It's just gravity trying to bring us down and air trying to prevent our success. We'll beat it though. You're looking good. Meanwhile, I'll keep an altitude display open so you can track your progress ascending to your apoapsis. Okay. What is this? Rechargeable battery pack and solar panels? Oh, that's cool. This is RCS. Now that we're clear of the atmosphere, we can warp ahead through time to get to the apoapsis more quickly. Important rocket scientists like us do not have time to waste. Press X next when you're ready, and we'll warp till it's time to make our next burn. What? Okay, well... Oops. We're almost there. Rotate your craft to line with the program mark. Okay, well... I think we have the idea. Now we can play the game. We have a brand new game that I just started. This is the science mode, so what that means is we have just the basic crafts. Just the basic crafts. And we have launched some craft in the past. And the only way for us to get more things is by doing that, by launching craft and recovering the goo that we have on our crafts. In order to get research points, we can go to the Research and Development tab. And there's all of these upgrades we can eventually research. The more science we have, the better upgrades we get, the farther we can go, and it sort of just loops like that. For now, we are starting with regular start, technology, basic rocketry, and engineering 101. Other than that, we cannot afford anything else. So let's build a fucking space engine. We'll need a command pod. We'll need a parachute. We'll need some goo. Thermometers. And we'll put our antenna here. Okay. Let's do fuel tanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Liquid fuel, burning engine. Actually, we'll need a decoupler first. Actually, no, we won't. Liquid fuel burning engine. Now we'll take some decouplers. Okay. Something like this. Let's see if we get going to need couplers. Okay, now we'll take our engines. Can I not? Yeah, here we go. Actually, wait, if I just take this, and I take this coupler, can I put couplers on the sides? Well, let's see, if we take these rocket boosters, and we do like 4 of them, they don't separate, but if we take couplers and put them on top, will they then separate from the engine? That would be interesting to know. First stage, second stage, third stage. This will be minimum pressure 75, altitude is good to go. And we will name this test 1. Just test. That'll be good. Save it, launch it. Alright, go for launch. Well, it did not launch. Okay. Good to know. Oh, I know what I can do. Perfect, I know exactly what I can do. I can take this coupler, put it on the bottom here, then put the rocket booster underneath, like so. Come on. Oh, there's a coupler on this one. Okay, my bad. Take this, put this here, and do like 4 boosters around the sides like this. Make sure they're the exact same height. Like this. And now we need some aerodynamics. Sure, that might work. Alright, save craft, launch. Oh, actually I didn't change that, but I can change it from here. Those will go. They will decouple here. Then it will start the next engine and they will burn. Okay, here we go. Toggle SAS on. And we begin leaning to the left. Couple. And oh, I fucked up again. Alright, hold on. Revert the flight. Forgot I have to change my fuel settings. Okay, bring this down to couple. Okay, full throttle. Now launch. Uh-oh. This isn't good. Come on. Enable SAS. Prograde. Come on. Alright, so we're going to want radial out. And we will wait for our apopsis. Toggle full burn. Or not right now. So right now we'll land somewhere in Africa. Or what looks like Africa. while we are in orbit. We have 2 minutes left. So let's go ahead and look at our scientific instruments. Transmit the data. Warning, not enough electric charge. Okay. View the data. Keep the experiment. Let's look at our thermometers. Log the temperature. Where's our apoapsis? We have 1 minute left. So we can do our burn. Review the data. Keep the experiment. "45 seconds until our apoapsis." "30. 20. And that was it. Alright. Well, let's start enabling time warp mode. Actually, let's bring it up, and we're going to be retrograde, flipping the ship back around. Nice little suborbital flight there. Hopefully we don't get too hot. Probably should have had a decoupler for the liquid engine as well. Uh-oh. 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 Oh no. Well, now we know. Now we know. Indeed we know. Let's fix it, shall we? We're going to need a decoupler here. Okay. And what if I put this on like 6 times rockets? Let's try it like this. Communication. We have no use for these because we don't have any power. Let's try this. Save craft, launch. Alright, full power. SAS on, launch. Oh. Okay. Log the temperature. Log temperature. Reset experiment. Check our apoapsis. Auto camera. Radio out. Radio in. $20 seconds. Should now be good for temperature check. Space. Keep experiment. Goo. Observe. Keep experiment. Goo. Observe. Keep experiment. Time to burn. Okay, and separate. Okay, we can prime our parachute. Now all we need to do is select retrograde, and our SAS should do the rest. Alright, we didn't get too hot. Perfect. Parachute should deploy. Please, parachute, deploy. And a nice, easy, gentle landing. Alright. Stop warp speed. Zoom in. Check temperature. View the data. And space. Okay. Observe mystery goo. Review data. 10 science. Keep experiment. Alright, now we go up here, click on recover vessel. We should have all that science and stuff good to go. There we go, look at all that science. 28.8 science earned. Nice. Alright, let's speed up time. Day 2. Let's head to R&D. Oops. And now we can upgrade something. Let's see. Basic rocketry, stability. More engines, more fuel, more ambitious ideas. We have 43, so we could get a few things, actually. Aviation. Survivability. Science of landing and walking away from it. Let's do general rocketry. And stability. General construction could be nice too. So we have a total of 6 new parts. Let's see what we got. Ooh, we have bigger fuel tanks, more mass, twice the mass, twice the fuel, twice the oxidizer. It's just bigger overall. But even less cost. So let's take a few of these fuel tanks. Okay. Ooh. Swivel or Reliant? Ooh, this is lighter and has more thrust overall. I think I have the swivel engine on me right now, right? I do. Let's improve the engine. The Reliant fuel engine. Hammer Flea Thumpers. Ooh. This has max thrust of 250, 820 solid fuel, 15 per second, 19 per second. Yeah, let's try these new Thumper fuel booster. Ooh, these are big boys. Jeez. Coupling. Here we go. Radial decouplers. These are what I needed. Perfect. Aerodynamic nose cones. Winglet. Nothing is really known about this thing. Use at your own risk. Lifting surface. Ground, thermal, electrical, communications, science, cargo, and utility. Alright, well we're gonna build a fucking big ass rocket. I just deleted it all. Oh, there it is. Alright. So this will be our orbiting engine here. We have a coupler. Now we'll need boosting stages. So where is this coupler? Okay, this decouples the engine. Right, now we're going to need another decoupler. This will stay. This will decouple secondary booster. Now we'll add some radial decouplers. Four of them. And these will decouple these bad boys. Needs to be like exact. Like there. That'll work. Okay, so stage 1, big boy rockets. Put some nose cones on them so they're nice and aerodynamic. And we'll put some winglets on them on the corners here. Alright, so first it will trigger the 4 main boosters. Then decouple. Then trigger secondary booster. Then decouple. Then trigger liquid fuel booster. Then decouple. And finally land. I think this looks good. Let's test it. Turn SAS on, full throttle, and launch. Begin rotation. Let's select prograde. Actually, let's keep it on stability assist. Lead off some speed. Okay, radial out. Decouple. Secondary launch. Stability assist. Taking manual control since it wants to be a dick. Where is our apoapsis? 2 minutes from now. What are we looking at so far? Okay, we will wait. And full burn. Wait, if we select normal, That's interesting. Alright, that's our fuel. Let's go ahead and let's make our observations. Observe mystery goo. Keep experiment. Observe temperature. Reset experiment. We're going to observe the goo once we get into orbit. Let's turn it to retrograde. Also decouple. We don't need that stuff. And also activate the parachute. We are in retrograde. Wait until we speed up time warp a bit. Okay, take our experiment. Log temperature. Log temperature. Log temperature, yes. Scan from Kerbin's water. Alright, recover the vessel. $21 science, 16 science earned. R&D, let's get survivability. And go back to the vehicle assembly bay. Alright, let's look at our new parts we got. Payload, service bay. A heat-resistant service bay ideal for protecting delicate instruments or stowing small service components such as RCS tanks, batteries, etc. Okay. Micro landing strut. Basically made of toothpicks. Okay. Heat shields. Radiator panel. A radiatorly attachable radiator panel to help dissipate heat into space. And Presmat barometer, a device for measuring the local atmospheric pressure. Warranty void if exposed to air. Radio mount drogue chute, radio mount parachute. Half-size radio mount version of the Mark 25. This drogue parachute is small, deploys high up, and certainly not enough to stop you from smashing on the ground. That's out, but useful for slowing craft down before the deployment of your main chute. Okay. Well, we don't need that. think maybe if we limit this to like 20. Save. Launch. I want to achieve orbit. That's what I really want to do. RCS on. Thruster max. Blast off. We've now reached orbit. Go ahead and rotate. See when we'll reach our apoapsis. 2 minutes. Should just be going right up and right down. We are. Okay. Let's detach. Burn solid fuel. Should be increasing our orbit trajectory. Okay, let's wait until we get to our apoapsis. Space high over Kerbal. Measuring temperature of space appears to be quite impossible, as there's no matter around to be either hot or cold, except the spacecraft and thermometers, so it's probably going to give the R&D guys something to think about for a while. The goo feels right at home here. Alright. We need to go back into re-entry. Now we need to check this goo. Keep experiment. Oh, it's so hot. Please don't burn up. Oh, please don't burn up. Wow, that was close. Holy shit. Oh my god. We lost all of our instruments, but our pod barely survived. Oh my god. That was close as shit. Holy shit. Very close, yeah. Alright, it should be deploy and we should be good. Or it just never deploys for some reason. Ah, because I never checked the parachute! Oh man. I feel so fucking dumb. Jesus, dude. Oh well. Payload time. How does this work? I don't know how this thing works. I guess like this. No idea. You know, get rid of it. I don't want it. Payload. Delicate instruments are stowing small service components such as RCS tanks, batteries, etc. Ideal for protecting delicate instruments. Well, I don't know how to use that, so I won't use it. Simple as that. Let's put a barometer on this thing. Actually, let's put 2 barometers on this thing. And we'll do... how do I... There we go. Okay, there are all of our instruments. Grounds, communication, cargo, utility. Here we go. We'll have a drag chute. With 4 of them. That'll help slow us down, hopefully. And we'll have some heat shielding on the bottom of this as well. Where is our heat shielding? Here it is. Thermal. How that works exactly. Heat shield. Decoupler. Decoupled engines. Alright, so what are the altitude for these? 2500. This deploys at 2000. Okay. Then that'll decouple. That seems good. Let's take this off. Put another big fuel tank on here. And another Reliant engine. Actually, we don't need to put that on here because we already have an engine on here. Don't need this. I think this needs to be up more, like 35%. Okay, and then next it will decouple the boosters, trigger the next rocket, decouple that, trigger the next rocket, decouple everything, and parachute. Hopefully this is good enough. We'll have to see. Maybe this one will be the winner. Alright, RCS on, full throttle, launch. Okay, we'll wait for our apoapsis. Detach. Secondary boost. We're almost there. Come on, fuel. You can make it. Almost. Alright, well, let's turn into retrograde now. Zoom all the way in. Let's take an pressure data. Read 0 as if it were in a vacuum. Keep experiment. Observe mystery goo. Reset. We'll wait until apoapsis. Okay. Observe mystery goo. Damn, we're not as high as we used to be. What temperature? Alright, go ahead and speed up. Temperature reading. Observe at mystery goo. You observe the goo. Keep experiment. Log pressure data. Back. View data. Okay, keep experiment. Review data. Reset experiment. Log temperature. Alright, recover the vessel. Good flight. Very good flight. Now, we might have enough. Let's see, 45, 45. Damn. Looks like we need to do one more before. But now, I want to try and exit the atmosphere. Want to see if that is going to be possible. So, here's how we're going to do that. We're going to take a thumper, attach it here. We'll have radials. Four of them. Attach those there. And this thrust won't need to be max. This can be 35% thrust. Alright. So our goal here is not to make it into orbit, but to just leave the planet. And with this, we should be able to just leave the planet. Hopefully. Here we go. The extra weight should slow us down a bit more with these boosters. You want to check our apoapsis. Wait until we get into the outer atmosphere. Far away, or farthest away from the planet as we can before we start our second burn. We're super high altitude now. Let's initiate second burn. We are gaining speed, which is good. Man, who thought rocket science would be so damn hard? Alright. And decouple. Secondary engine. 1/3 burn. Full throttle. So we hit about half fuel. Okay, got the engine. I'll just do a nice slow burn. Come on, I gotta be able to break that fucking thing. Break the line, come on. Break the line, you son of a bitch. Damn it. Fuck. Well, we'll be able to take some super high altitude readings here. "19 minutes from now." Okay. We are super far away from Earth. Let's take our readings. Pressure data. Instrument reads 0, as if it were in a vacuum. Keep the experiment. Log temperature. Space. Observe mystery goo. Goo feels right at home here. Keep. Okay. Now we will turn to retrograde. review on pressure. Let's password till we land. Wee. Boom. All right. Let's see. Is this the right one? No. Is this the right one? Here it is. +3 science. Recover the vessel. +33 science. Done. All right. We have a total of 75 science we can use. Flight control. Aviation. Supersonic flight. Keep things stable. I think we'll get into aviation. Alright, last rocket blast I want to do tonight. We need to leave the atmosphere. That's just something we need to do. I don't want to give up without leaving the atmosphere. This is how we're going to do it. First of all, change the parachutes. Deploy at like 5,000 feet. That should help slow us down a bit more. Now, oh man, this is not gonna be, this is gonna be real dumb, but I'm doing it anyways. Decoupler. Where's my decouplers? Here they are. Alright. We're going to space, god damn it. We're doing it. We're going to space. Interstellar space, here we go. 3, 2, 1, launch. Oh, it does not want to move. It's fine, we are still gaining altitude, which is exactly what we needed. Things seem to be stable as well. Wait until we burn off as much possible avoabsis as we can before we light the second. Slow down as much as possible before we light the second stage. And eject second booster. Okay. Let's release the secondary fins. And light next booster. Okay. Detach. Did I do it? Hold on. Did I just... Ah. Damn it. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. Yep. Damn it. Almost orbit. Alright. Well. No, actually, just go straight up. And also increase the time so it doesn't take forever. That did not fucking work. Fuck! You know what? We're gonna keep our speed so we don't lose momentum. I'm gonna wait for the fucking apoapsis. that work? Did I break? I broke orbit! Oh my god! I did it! I broke orbit. Wow. Well, there's the moon. Well, we are now in an orbit around the sun. We got into orbit, just not around the Earth. And that's where we'll stop for tonight. That was good. Got a lot done today. Finally made into interstellar space. Well, not interstellar, but an orbit around the sun, so that's pretty cool. But, yeah, that'll be it for me for this one. So thank you so much for watching, hanging out, and enjoying the game. GG! Hell yeah. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!